And the show will start in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
So how are you? It's been forever since I get to talk to you.
I know. We've been doing okay. Doing okay. How about you?
Things changed, but I'm
Don't they
alive. We're all
always?
good. Instead of selling subscription services, I now sell my face. It's a little different. And his face.
And his face,
Yeah.
that magnificent
So my
mustache.
face?
Yeah, we sell
I
your
love that.
face. Your face is going on our mug, man.
We gonna get a mug?
It's like a handlebar. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh. Let's see here. Oh, okay, buttons are being pressed. My water boiler is making weird noises.
Yeah, they do that.
I think it needs more water. The resident freeloaders in the background are wandering around. Oh. I'm excited. Get to learn about tea tonight.
Me too. I've been wanting to have you on this show for years.
Oh, really?
Well,
Excellent.
I mean, anybody who could tell me something about tea,
Oh.
but you were always top of the list because we see you at TeaPunk November and you're part of the community. So, yeah.
Excellent. I'm happy to be here. I'm a little nervous, but it'll be fine.
It's very laid back. We just sort of chat, and we all have ADHD, so our conversations are all over the place. So you can't mess it up any worse than we do.
Sounds like a challenge to me.
As long as you're prepared to answer the stupid questions we have about tea.
Oh,
And by we,
yes.
I mean myself.
I can do that. I can do that.
Oh. Let's see here. All right, we're shared there, we're shared there. Oh, we're all good now.
Yay.
My tea just needs to finish. By the way, I'm a big fan, so
Thank you.
you're welcome. I've been drinking your tea almost weekly for about as long as my child's been alive. I think about it.
Really?
He's now 10. Just before that. Steam
Well,
Chest came around about the same time as as he did, so
say we're in our 10th year now, so yeah.
There we
You've
go.
been with us for a long time, since the beginning.
Since almost the beginning.
That's awesome.
We decided 10 years ago, right after going to Wild Wild West Con, to say, you know what? There's so much that we got to see here that didn't get seen because there was some people in a back room booths in like a back room that very few people got to get to and see.
Yeah.
Like, those people need to be highlighted. So we kind of sat around going, we got all their cards and everything. We ordered some stuff from them, and we're like, all right, well, let's do a thing that gets these people's name out there. And so Steam Chest was born in the car on the way home. Like, well, we need what are other places doing? Well, they're got coffees and alcohols, and we're like, what's so freaking steampunk? And it's tea. And we started figuring out where we could get tea from, and connected with you guys at Steampunk November. I think probably that time right then, and the rest is history.
Yay!
Here we are. Now I have the tea brewing. How about that? I can't tell you what it is yet because it's part of the show.
Yes, part of our show, we have a "What are you drinking?" section, which usually involves us talking about weird beers we found at the grocery. But tonight it's all tea.
I should probably get a cup of tea then, because right now I'm just drinking water.
Okay, I mean, we don't judge.
The lightest of teas.
It's like a proto tea.
It's very subtle. You coffee drinkers probably wouldn't be interested.
I do drink coffee for two reasons. One is to wake up in the morning. Waking up is very helpful. The other is I do like the taste of burned things, apparently, because I really like it dark.
Mm.
That's not the same. Okay. That's
Okay. Well, okay.
We're not gonna go
I
into
use
coffee.
cream.
That's not what
I
this show
use
is about
heavy
tonight.
cream in mine because I like the creaminess that goes with it. But I got to have my coffee strong enough that it still shines through the heavy cream.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like you're
It's
torturing
important.
the cream.
Yeah.
You're torturing the cream, man.
And it's 8 o'clock.
It's
So I'm gonna push
terrible.
the button. You guys ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
1, 2, 3, go.
Texas Steampunk Connection coming to you live from various parts of Texas in our bunkers and airships and whatnot. I am Flavio as usual, and with me as always is Thax, the gentleman adventurer, and Jack from Steam Chest. And we have Master Blue Stocking. Say hello, guys.
Hey.
So once again, we are here to talk, probably about steampunk, most likely, because that's what this is about. Thank you for listening to the Texas Steampunk Connection.
Good evening, everyone. You've reached Texas Steampunk Connection again on Tuesday night, and we have something special tonight. We have Genevieve with TeaPunk Teas joining us. Let's see. Blue Stocking could not make it. She's having migraines and just not able to get with us. It happens once in a while. But Jack and Dax are here, and we're ready to learn all about tea tonight. So, yeah. How should we get started? It is the first Tuesday after the Thanksgiving holiday, and that has really thrown me off into a curve. The weather has gotten very chilly. Just like we actually have weather here. It's wonderful. I like the cold weather because we get it so seldom. But I've already heard complaints from people who are already sick of the cold and they want it warm again. I don't know.
It's a good time to drink tea.
It is. It's fantastic.
Rita and Lawrence have already joined us. Rita is drinking sparkling water. And Jack is steeping his tea. I've got mine here. Let's get into it. I guess we'll start with what are you drinking? Obviously, it's tea night. And Jack went on and on 2 weeks ago about the teas he brought back from Steampunk November.
Oh, I got a stack of them over here, by the way.
It's about like 5 pounds of tea or something.
That's a good start.
I bought OL over $100 worth of tea, and of course to add to my collection of tea. So, yes. Do I like tea? I don't usually. Yeah, yes, that's a good question. It's a great answer.
So what have you got in the cup?
So I've opened the Rot Gut Assam, which for those of you who were here last week will know this is the one with the scotch in it, which I'm intrigued with how you got scotch in this because it doesn't sound very wet. So this is my first time trying it. I just opened it and steeped it, and it smells freaking glorious. Ooh. So I'm going to be terrible at explaining the flavor here, but it is really good. It tastes like a wonderful dark tea. It's got a kind of like almost like a metallic ring to it. I like it. There's like a good like citrusy background to it. I'm terrible at explaining what's like they taste.
Well, it's one of those interesting teas. If you let it cool and you try it over ice, the cooler it gets, the more you can taste the scotch.
Oh, okay. Oh, I gotta get an ice cube. Oh wait, I got plenty of it. It will chill itself. But it does say it has. The family is home.
Got something to say.
The alarm bell's going. So it has. What is TGFOPT?
Tippy Golden Flowery Orange Pico. It's a descriptor for the Assam. They use it in India to describe nature and how good the Assam is. Basically, the more letters you have, the better it is.
Okay, so it's a rating system with it.
Yes.
Okay. And then it also says it has orange peel, ginger, and scotch.
Yes.
So that's what the orange peel. Yeah, okay. I do taste the ginger as well. Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. It's very delicious. Thank you so much for making it.
Oh, thank you. I liked making that one. That was a lot of fun.
And I am drinking Lady Magpie's Curious Tea.
Oh, excellent.
Which is also an Assam TGFOP. And I am not a tea drinker as Jack is. And all teas kind of taste alike to me. I'm not really, I don't get the subtlety that I should be looking for.
The subtlety.
I mean, it smells nice. There's nothing, I just don't, I don't know how to describe it. And I'm hoping to learn a lot more tonight. What I've been using tea for is I've talked about it on the show. I'll take an Earl Grey and steep it straight into 2 fingers of whiskey for a minute, and then it really adds to the whiskey. It gets that bergamot flavor into that whiskey, and it's really nice. But that's not really tea drinking. That's some sort of
it's still tea. It's still tea.
Yeah,
You're using tea leaves. It's tea.
This one has scotch in it already, so you're not too far off.
Okay. It may have scotch in it, but I'm just like straight up drinking scotch with tea in it.
Tea in it. It's tea.
Well flavored scotch at that point.
Yeah.
Or well flavored tea.
So you already have a brewing guide to tea on your website at TeaPunkTeas.com.
Yes.
So I've been sort of looking over that. But where should we start?
I guess we probably should start with why she is the person we're talking to. What are your credentials that go into this? What have you done? Where was the beginning of your adventure and journey to making tea, essentially, and work forward from there?
Well, I suppose it started with my mother's mother, who's English, and she came over just after World War II. And so she loved tea, and my mother loved tea, and then we all just loved tea. And then I decided at one point I loved tea and didn't love working for other people. So a little over 10 years ago, I decided to start my own tea company.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And we've been doing it for, as I said, just over 10 years. We've got a number of teas that we blend ourselves. We're always coming out with new ones, trying new teas, just having a really good time with it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What are some of your insights into different types of tea and their unique characteristics that you have found on your journey here?
Insights into different kinds of tea.
Maybe we're skipping ahead.
That's a big question.
Let's start simple, because I'm sure you get this kind of question constantly, because Texas and America are coffee drinkers, as am I. How do you suggest, what do you tell a person who is straight coffee drinker to get them interested in tea, or to familiarize them with the very basics? How do you sell them on switching to tea?
Well, we're very sneaky about it. We have a tea coffee hybrid that we generally start with. It's our dark side of the spoon.
I have that one around here somewhere.
And it's got a couple different kinds of black tea. It's got chocolate creme brulee coffee beans and ground up coffee cherry. And it's not gonna work. It is dark and rich and a little bit sweet. So it's like coffee, but transitioning into tea. If they want something less coffee-like, then we go with like a nice traditional black tea, like our Scottish breakfast, the Scottish tea. or something like that.
I know if you brew this one thick enough and you put some whipped cream on top of it, it's like a very nice hot chocolate.
Thank you. Yes.
I also miss the ones with lemon in it, by the way. Lemon ones are fantastic. The lemon chocolate.
Oh, I might bring that back. We're talking about bringing that back for like limited time during Halloween sort of thing. I might do that next year.
Warn us, because I will purchase it.
I will let you know. Promise.
Thank you.
Yes.
So you mentioned black tea.
Yes.
I'm also familiar with green tea and red tea from the Chinese restaurant. Are those coming from the same places, or do they have different origins?
Okay. Well, usually, first of all, when people talk about red tea here in the United States, they're generally talking about a rooibos, which is not tea.
Okay.
It's a very nice herbal. It's a bush that grows in South Africa, and they grind it up and brew it like you would a tea, but it's not tea. All actual tea comes from the Camellia sinensis plant, and it's how it's processed is what makes the difference between your white, green, yellow, oolong, black, and then your pu'ers.
Oh,
Lots of
now we're
kind of
getting
teas.
into it.
Yes.
Okay,
Talk to me
so
about oolong.
they're all the same plants, but the method of turning them into tea is different, and so
Yes.
you get different characteristics, I suppose.
Yes. The major thing that determines it is how oxidized they are. As soon as you pluck a plant, it starts to become oxidized. So a white tea, they take it, immediately heat it up, and stop that process. So that's the lightest of the teas.
Oh.
A green tea will be up to like 30% oxidized, and then between 30 and 99% are your oolongs. So there's a huge variety in oolongs. 100% are your black teas, and then a tea that they've stopped the oxidization, and then traditionally it was doing a wet wrap. Now they can do it with chemicals. They will let it sit as a wet wrap for 6 months to 5 years and become fermented, and those are your pu'ers. And in China, they're referred to as dark teas. They're darker than black.
Wow.
They're
Okay.
very earthy and rich.
Okay.
So when you say oxidized, that you're really talking about them being in contact with air or
Yes.
oxygen, and
Yes.
the chemical reactions that happens. Okay, interesting, huh? Okay, then so you've got these diversity of tea processes,
Yes.
and then you add things to the tea. You as the practitioner of the teas.
Yes.
Like this one I'm having. It's got pear and ginger and vanilla extract. So you've added other things to bring out certain features of the tea, and then it's a matter of me buying it and brewing it, which is to say, taking a teaspoon's worth of tea in a cup.
Generally speaking, that's actually why it's called a teaspoon. 1 teaspoon for every 8 to 10 ounces of water, or if you want to get really picky, 3 to 5 grams.
Wow, I never actually considered that was the actual measurement was the teaspoon.
I just thought it was the thing you stirred the tea with.
Yeah, after you put the tea in, then you stir it up.
Now, this is going to be really fun. But that makes sense because we used to tea bags. And if I think about it, a tea bag is about the same size as a teaspoon, because what do you do with a teaspoon? You use it to squeeze your tea bag out. It's about the same size.
Don't squeeze your tea bag.
I'm sorry, it was Lipton. That was the way I grew up. Yeah, I know.
You're not supposed to squeeze your tea bag?
I have obviously moved up in the world when it comes to tea. I had to start somewhere.
These are the things I need to know. You do not squeeze the fluid out of the tea bag.
No, that releases more of the tannins that's in the tea, and that'll make your tea more bitter. So if you like bitter tea, go for it. It's not what?
Look, I know nothing, but I've always squeezed my tea bag, and I just assumed tea was bitter.
Well, it is.
It can be.
Originally in China, it was actually referred to as the bitter herb. But you don't have to make it as bitter as you probably are.
You don't have to brick yourself with it.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. I know nothing.
Learning so much. Proper tea
I'm a
etiquette.
complete tea boob.
Oh, no.
So you don't squeeze the living bejesus out of your brewed leaves. Good to know. And then there's brewing at different temperatures.
Yes.
Like your white and yellows. I'm looking at your website. You start with cooler water. I mean, cooler, not as boiling hot as the black teas and such.
Yes.
And also you steep them for less time, and that makes a big difference.
It really does.
And if I'm go ahead. Sorry.
I say, especially with the temperature of the water, if your water is too hot, like with your white or green or yellow teas, you can scorch the leaves, and then they can taste burnt or like old band-aids, kind of. It's you could do better.
Okay. All right. And if I'm to take any English person as knowledgeable, microwaving my water is right out.
Don't do that, please. Don't do that.
What?
Please.
That very confuses me. I thought hot water was just hot water. Does it really? I mean, is that English voodoo that microwave up is bad, or is there some logic behind that?
First of all, you're not going to get your water hot enough. That's going to be a big problem. It's also going to mess with the oxidization, because once again, when you brew tea, ideally you'll start with cold water. Cold water will have more oxygen in it, and that actually helps enhance the flavor of the tea.
Okay.
Also, with your microwaving, if you know like how microwaves work, the way that the like she's saying, the heating element, you don't get it hot consistently through the water.
Yeah.
Because there are points in the microwave where there's hot spots. Essentially, a sine wave is what's in your microwave, and anywhere where the sine wave hits the ground like that is where it's touching your item with the waves going through your microwave. So that's where you have hot spots and cold spots, is where the sine wave is actually going through objects. And with water, I can imagine that, but you think stirring it or something, but then therefore you're boiling spots in your water. So when you actually stir it, your consistent water is not the same temperature like you would if you brought it to a boil.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
At least I can see this. I can see the science in that.
Yep.
It's fake. It's fake boiling. Faux boiling your water.
Faux boiling, yes. Don't do that.
Coming up with new terms tonight.
I like that.
Oh.
Okay. So I've boiled my water in a kettle and not in the microwave. I steep my tea for the predetermined amount of time that is required, and not for longer than that, or it'll go bitter.
It can, but if you like that, go for it.
Okay, sure. I'm not shaming anyone who likes to do things differently than what I'm trying to learn here. Then people add lemon, milk, honey. When is it appropriate to add things to your tea? Should I always add things to my tea, or not?
That's really a personal preference. It depends on how you like your tea, but never add milk and lemon to the same cup.
Yes.
That's straight out.
Straight out. It's improper.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I can suggest that if you have a tea that has fruity flavors in it, a little bit of some type of sweetener will enhance those flavors. So whether it's honey or sugar or whatever you like, you'll taste the fruity flavors a bit better. Just a little bit of sweetener.
That makes
Or
sense.
a lot if you like it.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. See, I told you I was going to ask all the dumb questions.
No, not a dumb question.
It's proper tea ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Oh, you list whiskey as an additive to the tea.
Sure.
Get
See?
behind that.
See? Yeah, and some teas like our winter smoke, very
Ah,
nice.
That
Is it
one works
nice?
very
That's
well.
Yes.
That's what I've been infusing into my whiskey.
Yeah.
Let's see. You also mentioned back to heating, the fish eyes method of heating.
Yes.
What is that about?
That's if you have a container where you can see the water boiling.
Okay.
You'll have like when it's just beginning to boil, you've got like little beady bubbles, little beady fish eyes. And at that
Okay.
point, you're ready for like your green teas or whatnot. And then when you get the bigger bubbles, when it's really boiling, then you just use that for your darker teas. So pay attention to the size of the bubbles. Little fish, big fish.
Gotcha. That basically is determining the relative temperature of the water.
Yes.
Yeah? Oh, I see. Cool. Let's see. Where can we go from here? Fish eyes. Gotcha.
So, what do you kind of like specialize in a particular type of tea? I know you
No,
have a lot of.
I like all teas. I generally prefer the black teas. And when I'm blending teas, I like a nice classic black, like the Assam that actually you're both drinking right now. It's one of my favorites.
It's a good one. It's got a lot of it's a whole flavor.
Yeah, and it's really good for blending with other things.
It's a good base.
Yeah. Yes, excellent.
Speaking of base, I'll admit that I'm also one that really likes like flowery teas. So I learned really quickly with lavender to not overboil your water before you put it in. Because it does taste horribly bitter and is completely like you might as well have just crushed the flower under your boot and then try licking it off the cement.
Yeah,
but I did grab the tropical Assam, and I'm looking forward to trying that one. I have yet to do so, but it's got the hibiscus in it with the dragon fruit essence, and that just sounds utterly delightful. But I wonder, where did you get dragon fruit essence, or how do you get that? That seems kind of a specialty.
actually, we have a supplier in Florida that makes it for us.
Oh, really? Okay, so there are places to actually get the essence of dragon fruit without having to grind it yourself.
Ooh, I don't have the time for that.
I don't even know how you do that, since dragon fruit, when you actually start getting into it, it's like a cucumber. You're like, I don't understand this item of how this looks like one of those. This looks like it should have been on an episode of Farscape or some other sci-fi movie or TV show, and you cut it open. How does this exist?
I don't know, but it tastes really good.
Ooh, okay.
So I just let them do their voodoo down in Florida and take advantage of it. Yeah.
So, with that said, what gave you the idea of blending that into a tea?
That's actually a tea that we made for a gaming company out in California, and they're like, "Well, we want a tea that's pink." I was like, "All right." So they wanted a black tea with hibiscus, makes it kind of reddish. And I was like, "What would go well with that? What would be fun? What's kind of something I haven't used before?" And I was like, "I really like dragon fruit. Let's try that."
That's interesting. Okay, I like
That's how we get a lot of our teas. I haven't tried that before. Let's try that.
That's how I end up with so many teas. Like, that sounds fantastic. That sounds fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that like my mom's, she's got like 2 major areas for kitchen that are devoted to just teas of all types. And then when I went to
Excellent.
China, I brought her back some as well. And now I give out these to a lot of Christmas presents and whatnot to my nieces. She really likes the chocolate ones. So
Ah.
I may have to part with one of my chocolate ones. It's worth it, but man, it's hard.
I understand.
You're worth it, Rachel.
One of our patrons, Lawrence, says, I find that heating and steeping your teas in different materials, ceramic versus aluminum versus iron, changes the flavor of the end tea flavor.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
That is a thing. Yes. Because you're going to tea picks up other flavors very easily. So it's going to depend where you brew it, steep it, is going to affect the flavor. That's why I don't like using or drinking out of metal cups for my tea, because it gives that kind of metallic tang to it. I like the ceramic, porcelain, things like that.
Glass,
absolutely. Glass is always good.
See, now I know you're supposed to use, if you want to have like a sweeter, tinnier rum, you drink it out of a copper glass. So that I went after hearing about that would make sense for teas and whatnot.
Absolutely.
For, picking up other flavors. But interesting. Okay. So in your mind, what is the perfect teapot and tea glass or cup of tea or teacup? There we are. That's the word.
A perfect teacup?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Usually the one that's in front of me. Yeah.
Man.
As for my perfect teapot, the Brits developed something called the Brown Betty. And it's nice rounded teapot it's actually perfect because when you put your tea leaves in, they have lots of room to expand and swirl around and brew, and you get a very nice cup from there.
Okay, so yeah, it's spherical with a little thing on top. Oh, the classic teapot. Essentially,
it's the classical. Yes,
it's what's her name from Beauty and the Beast. I can't.
Yes, it's Mrs. Potts.
Mrs. Potts is
Mrs. Potts.
Exactly.
Although I have already admitted many times I know nothing about tea, I did find something interesting. I recently got certified as a thermographer, which means I take pictures of hot things. I
use a thermal camera.
I get a thermal camera to get
awesome.
a visual idea of how heat is treated through different materials, and I learned the bizarre thing that a kettle that the thing you boil water in, not that you steep tea in, but if it is shiny and chromy, it will hold heat longer than if it is dull or if it is painted, because the high polished chrome does not send out thermal waves, thermal energy.
It doesn't work like a heat sink because you don't have ridges in the device, I assume.
They didn't really go into why, but different materials have different levels of putting out heat. I mean, it's all still the same temperature, but it doesn't send out thermal energy. It doesn't send out infrared waves.
That makes sense. Because when I open up laptops, they have these things called heat pipes in them now to help move heat from the processor to like the fan on the side through a heat, and then they have a your classic heat sink with vanes on it with a fan blowing across it. It's got these big copper pipes in there, and they're always shinier, and they're also hollow because they have a liquid that actually like expands in there, help move the heat around. But it's interesting how I can put my hand over the heat sink and it's hot, but I can put my hand over the heat pipe and it isn't hot unless I touch it. So maybe there's, like you said, there's something to it, but it doesn't. Interesting. It doesn't
really interesting.
Yeah. Huh. Well, we learned something else. Yay!
That's great.
One of my teachers told me his grandmother, I guess, had this tea kettle that she was very proud of, and then their son went and painted it or scuffed it up, and it basically ruined it. She was super mad, and then he explained why. So I thought that was really interesting, and because I've got this thermal imaging camera, I can visually see how metal versus other materials act different. Um, the chromy metal does not radiate heat, but it reflects it. So I can see like my reflection of my face in that metal. No matter if that metal is hot or cold, it's not radiating its own heat, but it's bouncing it back from me. So it's just weird. It's just it's like peeking into a strange other world that you never get to see, but we live in it.
Thermodynamics.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And now I realize I need a new cat because mine is very, very not chromy.
Here's my camp one. It's made out of like tin. It's like stamped tin. It looks like one of those from like World War II. But it was used to make coffee in the middle of nowhere. So, I put it in the fire. So, when you're blending these kind of teas, I'm assuming you have some sort of like, I'm not going to say mathematical equation, but like, if you want to make something taste like something, you need, all right, this much of this. And like, I'm assuming you have some sort of like process of knowing a good balance before you throw in other items and having a good idea of what you're going to come out with.
That is an interesting assumption.
I'm assuming not that. Let's just boil it and see what happens, huh?
A lot of it is. I mean, we'll say, okay, we want, A, B, and C in it. And then we'll put A, B, and C in, and we'll see how it turns out. Because sometimes different things, like if I'm putting, say, lavender into a tea, you want to be very careful with that. But then other things you need a lot more of. So we kind of make our best guess. Say, I just want a hint of ginger. And then we try it. And then we're like, well, that was a bad idea. Let's try it again. So there's a lot of trial and error is what it comes down to. But yeah, I guess after a while you get this basic idea of that I know I'll need, say, X amount of orange peel for this particular kind of tea, and then some of this, which takes some of the trial and error out of it. But it's still there's a lot of tweaking, like just a hair more of this or hair less of this, which means I get to drink a lot of tea, so it's good with me.
I'm imagining you basically have like this wall of little containers, and you're sitting there every time you want to go make tea. You just go and take little tiny scoops of like all the different ones, and then then you sit there and do that whole like, nah, and you try to start over.
It does sound a lot like secret alchemy, and
it is.
It is.
There are talents to making tea, and one person might have a great cup, and another might have one you'd rather not have. I don't know. That it sounds very complicated and very subtle.
I guess it is. It's also a lot of fun. Though as I will admit, I have made cups of tea that I'll take a sip, and turn around, and pour it down the sink, and then we never speak of that again.
It goes in the black book of failure that we never go back to.
Yes.
Oh.
Lawrence asks, what tea fiber bags do you think is best for steeping? And I'm guessing he's meaning like a tea bag or a container you steep in. Like what I just used was this piece of glass that holds the tea in it. But there's all sorts of ways of steeping. So yeah, he's wondering what's recommended.
Well, you want to stay away from, let's say it's fiber bags. You want to stay away from anything that has plastic in it. You don't want that in your tea. You want to make sure they're pretty good size, because I've seen some that are little and they advertise there for 1 cup. but they're too small. You want something that's a good size because the leaves need room to expand. That's where you're going to get your really lovely flavor from. I can't remember exactly what brand I have right now, but they have a little drawstring. They're good size. They're disposable, but they are fiber. Never any plastic or anything like that.
Do
Unfortunately,
different kinds of fibers matter? I mean, I guess we're getting very into the weeds here.
Most of them, or they just say fiber. I would have to look that up. Just as long as it's something you enjoy and it's relatively large. It seems like it. Oh my gosh, that's much too large for one cup of tea. Trust me, it's not. Not if it's a good tea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've noticed the ones I've gotten from you, they increase by 100%.
Yes,
as they're steeping, so it does need to expand and blossom, I guess.
Well,
puff up.
Speaking of blossoming, there are pellets you can get that you put in your tea in your larger glass, not kettle, but your pot, and you can actually watch. They have it folded so that the whole flower blooms out of it.
Oh yes, I love those.
Those production teas are fantastic. I brought a couple of those pellets home from China, and they look like owl pellets at first. You're not expecting them to be anything cool because they just look like this brown, until you inspect it, you can't tell it's actually woven tea leaves together. But yeah,
there is
this is blossom.
It turns into something pretty. I swear, Mom.
I think that was an owl pellet. I don't know.
That one has a skeleton in it. Yeah, don't drink that one.
Well, some of them you can find the ones that are single flower that blossom, but there is actual an art to weaving tea leaves together so they'll blossom into a flower. It's really amazing. I can't imagine the patience that takes.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I know we were hitting different fiber bags for flavor, and we talked about ceramics versus metals versus glass now for drinking things. Now we're going to get into the other one. One that it's a lot harder to control, but different water. Because I know I've had a lot of British people yell about, well, you don't want to drink tea from this place because their water's bad. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
I don't understand that. I'm from West Texas. All water is heavy minerals.
All water is bad.
All water will kill you eventually. Stoning to death in the shower.
Well, traditionally, the Chinese say that water that is closest to where the tea is grown is best for that tea. Obviously, that's not an option for us. So you don't want tap water because it's lots of minerals and whatnot in it.
Oops.
And you don't want water that's been purified.
Okay.
Because that has too much taken out of it and your tea is going to taste flat.
Okay, so you don't want water that's been distilled, essentially.
Right. Now, water that's been filtered is generally okay. Personally, I prefer spring water. I think it's a little more interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, don't use your tap water. That's not going to give you a good cup by and large.
It's why does it look all milky?
Screwed up so many ways in this one cup.
West Texas tea. Why is it milky? Just drink it. It's fine.
Just drink it and pray. It'll be good.
Ice in it. Oh.
Yeah, I think that's another thing. I've always had tea from tap water, and then
we got to change
squeezing
that.
Leaves in.
Yeah.
Microwave in the water.
Some of that.
Oh dear.
Filtered water rock from Fuji or something. Squeezed out of the best of the ocean sponges. I don't know.
Oh, so you said things that are not made from the tea plant are not tea.
Right.
So that's talking about all the herbal teas on the market, and what in the Caribbean they call bush tea, is they wander off into the backyard, pick some plants, steep them in water, and that's not tea.
It's not tea.
Apparently, no.
No,
Just
it can
because
be
you're
lovely,
boiling a
but it's
plant
not tea.
part doesn't mean it's tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just, there's got to be a word for, I guess, you're making a potion at that point.
They're infusions or tinctures. Yeah, but they're not tea.
I'm assuming
But
chai
you can
falls
then
under that.
take those things and put them in with your tea,
And
it's
that's
still
tea. So chai is tea.
Okay.
Because you use tea as a base.
Okay.
Start
Yeah.
with tea and add things. Okay.
Also,
adding
the word
spices.
chai means tea. So,
Mhm.
like when you go out to order it, just say chai. Don't say chai tea, because then you're saying tea, and that always makes me giggle a little.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to say it because I know it'll annoy the person on the other side, and they know that I know that, and so it's meta at that point, and then I usually get something else in my tea.
Okay, I can respect that. Yeah.
Is chai a Chinese origin, and the word tea what, Indian?
The saying is it's chai if by land, tea if by sea, as in how it's moved, how it like in Britain they had to use the ocean to they sailed it there, so it was tea. And in India, well, actually India has its own tea. When we talk about chai, generally it's specifically usually a black tea, but it's a mix of particular Indian spices in that tea. So when we say chai, it's much more specific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they from what the internet says here when it comes to Hindu and everything. I don't want to like step on anybody here. It says that chai and cha. Chai is the Hindi word for tea, and cha, or my pronunciation might be terrible because it doesn't actually give any pronunciations, just English letters.
Yeah.
And cha is the Chinese word for tea. So whether it's tea, or cha, or chai, it's all derived from a similar base word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's all tea.
Yeah, it's all tea. Oops. I wasted tea.
Oh no.
I will have to shun him.
Well, at least you didn't do all the sins that I'm guilty of.
Yeah,
let's
but
see.
you won't anymore. I have faith in you.
No. Thank you.
You now learned. Now we can shame you for it. Because you
Yes,
now
if it happens again, we will shame you.
Yeah, you were ignorant before. Now you've learned. Now we got to hold you to a higher standard.
Oh, definitely.
I was ignorant. Now I will be a dumbass. Got it.
Now your
Let's see,
ignorance
what
is what's the right word for it? Your own choice.
Oh, Rita wants to know, what about iced tea?
Iced tea is tea, unless it's not made from tea. The same tea that you use to make your hot tea, you can use to make iced tea. Except for the ones, because we have teas with chocolate in them. Those do not make good iced teas. I've tried. It was not successful. But by and large, if you can make it hot, you can make it iced.
Okay.
And there are a couple different ways to do that, depending on what you like and how much time you have for it.
So with that said, I know that certain mega companies make this stuff called tea that you can use for cold, like a cold brew tea. Is that basically, are they just basically putting like instant tea, like pre-made tea that's been dried out and like, turned into sand, and then, where it instantly dissolves in water again once you put water on it, no matter the temperature? Or is there a certain specific type of tea that does that at room temperature water? Or
no,
cold?
actually, all tea can be done cold brew. Actually, I prefer to use a cold brew. I'll take a pitcher, put in the appropriate amount of tea, put in my spring water, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then take out the tea and drink it because that gives you a much smoother, less bitter flavor with your iced tea. Because if
Okay.
you do with you can also do hot brew it, in which case you use twice as much tea as you would for a cup, and then you pour it over ice. But you'll
Okay.
get it'll be a little more bitter. I like the slower cold brew method, which is good
So
for most teas.
it's not just the heat does not release the flavor then. It releases it quicker, essentially, is what you're saying. All right.
Yes.
So I'm gonna start cold brewing more tea.
No, absolutely. Yeah, the colder the water, the longer it will take to brew. But it's really quite nice. I like it.
And you don't get the bitterness. I'm comparing that to like a cold brew coffee, which doesn't have the acidity that you get with hot coffee. And sometimes I've got friends who complain that they can't drink coffee anymore because it gives them an acid stomach. And I say, hey, try cold brew. So that's interesting. That will change some of the features of the tea.
Yes.
Very interesting.
And we do have some teas like the rot gut
Mm-hmm.
that as it gets cooler, the flavors change.
I'm tasting that.
Yeah. Also, our existential despair. It's a puer with honey brandy and plum. And as that one cools, you get more of the plum flavor coming out. It's quite nice.
I need to
really
get me
like
some existential despair.
Thank
Fantastic name.
you.
Yeah, with the different temperatures, that you're going to get different flavors coming to the front, aren't you?
Yes.
Which we've seen in beers, like
Yeah.
ice cold beer versus a moving toward room temperature beer. You get different flavors, which is what we usually talk about.
And if it's too strong, you make it as cold as possible, and it's easier to drink.
Is that how that works?
It works on some of them. I know. I haven't had one really, but I know like this. If I've had the one we had last time, the one we both had the same beer, the Devil's Backbone.
Devil's Backbone.
That one, it's stronger, a lot stronger, the warmer it gets.
Oh dear.
Really?
So, yeah, I noticed it had a lot more, like a lot more flavor came out near the end when not as cold. So
right, yeah. As it's a little warmer, you're able to taste more of the flavors of the beer. That's why a lot of the big mega beer makers advertise that their beer was as cold as it could be before freezing. It's because it's bad beer, and it being so cold you don't notice.
So you're telling me Coors is like, our beer is so bad that you have to see the mountains on it on our wonderful little stripe that changes color when we tell you it's cold enough to drink.
That makes sense. Okay. That makes a lot of sense now. Yes.
Suddenly, we're on to you, Coors. Breaking it here. Tinfoil hat time.
Oh, Lauren says sun tea is awesome. I made sun tea once, or my wife did, and that's not really a cold brew, because that, at least here, that sun heated up that water to
put it on 150 degrees cement. Yeah, that's
yes. Sun tea. I grew up with sun tea, and it can be very tasty. I can't recommend it because there is a point with the temperature and all that you can grow bacteria. So you have to be careful with it. Yeah, I grew up drinking it. It was good.
2 to 3 hours, and after that, you want to refrigerate it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because when you hit 8, you're like, "Oops, I forgot it."
Right.
Yeah, I've only had like sun tea that I've made twice, and it's but I made it a lot trying to capture it. But I put it out there, and then ADHD kicks in. I'm off doing something else for 6 hours, going, "Oh wait, I had tea outside."
Yeah, well,
the bees enjoyed it.
Oh well, that's something at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep the bees happy. That's important.
I want to find. Okay, so my friend's made honey, and he feeds them a certain way with what he's growing around the bees. Now I'm sitting here going, I wonder if you could make a whole bunch of tea and just consistently have fresh tea for them every day, and how your honey might taste afterwards. Yeah,
There's an experiment worth doing.
honey tea.
Yeah.
Feed them or provide them tea for drinking.
Yes, essentially, instead of fresh water, you'd have tea for them, much like you'd do like a hummingbird feeder or something, so that you could have them. I know. I'm gonna have to give them that idea. You're like, hey, what do you do next year?
See, my thought is the
Tea might
squirrels
buy
would
you.
find out. Then my squirrels would all be hyped up on tea all day.
Oh, we don't want that.
Jittery squirrels. Can't make sun tea then either, huh?
Now we've mentioned that TeaPunk Teas has been at TeaPunk November.
Yes.
Pretty much every year since I've been there. Do you do other shows that people should look for you?
Oh, well, we are, we do shows fairly regularly. We just TeaPunk November. We're in Columbus in June at Origins. Our next show is Anime Frontier in Dallas.
Okay.
We do, let's see. Now I can't remember.
I understand.
Yeah, right? We do anime.
On my calendar.
Right. Let me see. We occasionally do Wild Wild West Con. We're hoping, knock on wood, to do Scarborough Fair this next year.
Ooh.
Yes, that would be a lot of fun.
That would be.
So yeah, and of course we put it on our social media, but we do shows pretty much throughout the year.
Okay. We just gotta hunt you down, find you.
And you're based in the Dallas area? Is that?
Actually, we're a little bit south and west of Dallas. We're in Granbury.
Okay.
So it's a little town. It's the, let's see, it's been officially named the Texas Celebration Capital.
Ooh.
Yes.
And there's
because we have we have a historic square there, and actually they're filming a Christmas movie in the next couple of days there. So they're always
I also live in a town where they film movies every now and then. If you ever watched The Last of Us, the TV show about basically the zombie apocalypse from another perspective, well, it's filmed in my town, and they did it like, there's an airplane crash in the first episode, and the wings break off of the plane as it like crashes down Main Street. Well, those wings go into one of the buildings I used to work in. It used to be a state. Well, it is a State Farm, but you couldn't tell it was a State Farm there because they covered the image or the sign. But I'm like, wait a minute, that looks really familiar. That's really familiar. Oh my, that's uncanny. And then realize, oh wait, that is Elgin. Oh, interesting. They blew up downtown. But yeah. Oh,
so Genevieve lives in a town where they film Hallmark Christmas movies, and Jack lives in a town where they film zombie movies.
Yep.
Well, that says a lot, doesn't it?
Occasionally, the Budweiser horses are downtown, so they're apparently a Budweiser commercial every now and then.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool seeing the Clydesdales just march down. They did it once. They closed off the city, closed off downtown. I heard clock, 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 clock. Look out the window. Freaking Clydesdales. These things are freaking huge.
Great.
And then
they are.
The police cars, they loaded them up. Police cars gone. Everything gone. 15 minutes. You couldn't even tell they were there.
Wow.
We're efficient here, apparently.
Yeah.
Low profile. But well, this has been fun.
Yeah,
now,
it has.
I'm going to ask you, are there any questions we have not asked that we should have asked? Anything you think we need to know?
Probably.
Okay.
We are. I noticed Lawrence is asking if we're going to be at Steampunk Galveston. We have applied, so hopefully we'll be there next year.
Okay.
Also, I don't know how many of you know about tea dueling.
Oh,
I wanted to ask you about that. How do you feel
Okay.
about holding a soggy cookie over your tea?
I think tea dueling's a lot of good, silly fun. And we thought it was such good fun that we've actually developed a card game for tea dueling that'll be coming out next June.
Oh,
I want a
Yes.
deck because this is gonna be awesome.
It's biscuits and battles, or battles and biscuits, and we're finishing up all the artwork and everything, and it'll be ready June. Yeah, it'll be ready by June. So I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, very nice. So my claim to
Yes.
fame when it comes to tea dueling is I got to duel Admiral Akbar's voice actor. And
That's cool.
I know, right?
that's
It was a
weird.
trap. He's very British, and he comes in and he's like, "So I saw on the notes here that there's this thing called tea dueling. Please explain it to me." And we're like, "Your seat's right up here on the stage, sir." And I
Right?
have to be next in line. So I'm like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, you won't know me by my name, but you may know me by it's a trap." I'm like, it is a trap. I have lost. But yeah, he's very British, and it was very fun.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think it was Over Your Tea. It was done with I know his name. I cannot remember it right off the top of my head. But yeah, this was at the convention there in Dallas. It was Infinicon or the other one. It's put on by the same person, but it has two different, or same group, but it has two different names depending on the time frame it was doing it before COVID. But it was really fun. I haven't had a better tea dueling a moment since then. And
That would be great.
oh yeah. But now we'll have a deck of cards we can run around with and have a more structured play. I have to
Yes.
get me a tea holster now and duel down the middle of town somewhere.
Well, we have considered that at some conventions that won't. They're like, well, we don't want tea dueling. That's a silly thing. So we'll just have like back alley tea dueling, just run around a convention center, setting up little tea dueling booths here and there.
I would so do that.
Wouldn't that be
It would
awesome?
fit my character so well. Love this. I am yours if you need if you need volunteer people.
I will definitely keep that in mind.
I feel like there should be little signs around about how tea dueling is illegal and outlawed at this convention, so everyone knows you're breaking the rules.
That's right.
Breaking the law. Breaking the law.
I like that. We might have to
Great.
do that.
Fully for it.
And I should say the most important thing now that we are getting days away from December, Christmas shopping is happening.
Mhm.
Buy tea for your friends and family because
Absolutely.
they'll always need more tea. TeaPunkTeas.com is the name of the website you can order from. Almost all of these I'm seeing, it says only a few left. So
Yeah,
are you
While supplies last, I'm going to buy them all.
are you changing your portfolio of teas as these sell out? Or will we have to wait for more to come in?
Well, I am packaging teas as fast as I can. I'm just having a really hard time keeping up with the demand because I'm the only one that's actually blending and packaging the teas. So I'm doing my best. If
There's
there's
people like me going, gotta catch them all.
if there's something that we're out of, just drop me a line on the website. I'll do my best to make it up for you.
Awesome.
Yes, always happy to help.
That's
Thank you. We love it.
Service. That's amazing. Okay. Thank you very much. We do want to thank you for joining us tonight and answering all of my stupid questions.
Not stupid questions.
Teas and how to
Fair
ruin them. It has been a lot of fun. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't hit on yet?
Wow, I don't think so. Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a great time, and I will. Yeah, thank you. I've had a really good time. Yeah,
Anytime.
you guys are great.
Well, let me tell everyone
Next
about
is high.
our patrons and supporters. Texas Steampunk Connection is supported in part by J.R. Seeger's A School for the Great Game, in which Edwardian teen Elizabeth Bancroft is sent to a finishing school in India, which is in fact the British India School for Spies, which teaches the family business of espionage and martial arts and the Tibetan mystic arts. School for the Great Game is the first in the Steampunk Garage series available on Amazon. We're also supported by Fair Treasures. If you listen to our show, you've seen or heard Kitty on. She, at Fair Treasures, has a selection of Texas-made female-presenting costumes and accessories for steampunk and Renaissance wear, one-of-a-kind imported jewelry. You can shop Fair Treasures at fairtreasures.com, fair with an E, or on Etsy. She's just finished TRF last weekend, so I'm sure she's exhausted, but she can get back into online orders if you were ready to place an order for Christmas. We also have a number of patrons on Patreon. We'd love to have you support us there, and we can thank you personally on our show. We want to thank our patrons Jenny and Ryan Shaver, who have been helping us, and our certified aeronaut, Natalie McTavish, and a generous grant from the crew of the airship Aberfeldy, Rita, and Lawrence Allen. And that wraps us up. I'm going to hand us off to our founder, Flavio, to take us out. Jack, is there anything else you'd like to throw in?
Mind your gauges.
Absolutely.
Mind your steam and your kettles and all that fun stuff. Don't overboil your water.
We will be back in 2 weeks. At that point, it'll be last-minute shopping before Christmas, and we'll have our yearly Christmas shopping recommendations for you. Until then, mind your gauges.
Mind your gauges.
So, once again, thank you for listening. You can find us again on Facebook at Texas Steampunk Connection for any comments, questions, suggestions. If you know of something happening in Steampunk that's happening soon, we can put it on our calendar, on our Patreon, as well as the list of over 100 comics and graphic novels, steampunk and Weird West related.
You can also email us at texassteampunkconnection@gmail.com. And we're a streaming podcast, texassteampunkconnection.podbean.com.
And if you lose it on Facebook and you want to watch a rerun of this show at any point in time on YouTube, you can go find them on Steam Chest.
And although we've made many, many jokes about Twitter, you can look for us at TX Steam Connect 1 on Twitter.
I never use it. I never look at it. I don't know. I don't understand Twitter. Yeah, so once again, thank you very much. And until next time, mind your gauges.
Mind your gauges.